And today's subject, lighting. Right, so this one's a really interesting one for me because I watch loads and loads of YouTube channels, and I think the biggest thing that makes a massive difference to me is the aesthetics of lighting. So many people have nailed sound, and the ones that now draw me in are ones that are really lit very well and very artistically. Is that me being a bit of a, I don't know, what's the word, snob? Maybe a little bit. But I like people that have really gone to good effort. And that doesn't mean spending the earth. So let's go through a few things that I've done recently. First thing, this baby. Now see what happens when I shine the light at the screen. Look at that. Massive, massive difference. While the lens tries to cope with the amount of light coming into it. So we turn it back off, everything else brightens up again. And that allows you to do some really, really cool things. So I bought this, it's a Pixel GS1. And it allows me to different brightnesses, different settings in terms of colour. So you can see there's purple, you've got different brightnesses, but then you've got different colours, and it goes through the rainbow essentially. But then you can also set how much of that is used. So if I go down, there's like a green, and you can go, right, I want that green, but actually I want to mix in a bit of natural light. So actually it's only a very slight shade of green, or you can go like full on green. It's really hard to kind of show you, isn't it? So you've got full on green. It's like changing, which way am I going? This way. So yeah, very slight bit of green all the way through to very green, and then you can do the brightness from 1 all the way through to 100. You can do strobe lights, all kinds of stuff. So the battery lasts ages. It's USB-C, and it fits onto either one of these mounts, or you can actually, it does have a hot shoe. Horseshoe? I'm going crazy. A hot shoe fitting as well. So you can connect it to the top of your camera, you can connect it to a stand. It's portable, rechargeable, really handy. And it wasn't crazy expensive. I'll link it down below because I've seen them that are like 50,000 bazillion trillion pounds, and then they're massive and they light up the whole room, and if that's what you need, great. But as you can see behind me, I also have a bulb that just, I can do different colours. And I will quite often use a colour in the background when I'm filming. Again, a bulb, a lamp that is here, that again I've used this one many a time to get a different perspective of lighting from the side. Everything that you can use a little lamp that you used to use as a child next to your bed that's been left in the attic since you was 5. Whatever you want to use to get creative. So this thing that I got it mainly because I wanted different colours. Then I ended up getting a bulb for the back. But this allows me to get creative with colours close up and in loads of different angles, because as you can imagine, a bulb, you can't really move it anywhere, whereas this thing, anywhere you like. So I'm going to give you a little example of what I mean. So let's look at this. You've got a pedal board, you're recording it, it's very much a pedal board, nothing too interesting to look at, but some pedals in natural light, bit boring. So then I put the purple light behind a guitar that is behind the pedal board, so it's not too obvious, but it gives you a bit of mood, which is really, really nice when you want to just add a bit. This is a little bit more in your face and a bit more obvious, to the left hand side of the pedal board, giving you shadows, a bit of depth in the picture, really quite lovely. And then I went for in your face, how to be a bit dramatic with the way you're recording something. And I really love this, really love this. So you can see that there is a really big difference in the mood of what you are filming by the lighting. That should be really obvious in you think about kind of a scary film versus a happy film. Lots of happy stuff happens with happy lighting, and lots of scary stuff happens with next to no lighting. So really think about the mood that you're going for is probably the thing that I would say. Let's explore that a little bit more. Let's look at a real life example of things that I do quite often, and that is record a guitar part. Let's take this part for example. Now, that guitar part, nothing wrong with it, but it's supposed to be somber, and you look around, it just looks boring. There is no focus on what you should be watching. So let's stick some focus on what we're watching. There we go. We have light on the guitar. Creates a bit of mood because you've got some shadows, as you can see, wherever I move my hand. So it looks more interesting visually. But to me, it's not enough of a mood change. So let's go a step further. Cool, we've gone a step further and we now don't have light coming from the left hand side. So there is nothing on this side really that is taking away from the guitar. Now the problem that I have is that way is very difficult for me to cut all of the light out. So something I like to do is to put another light that way shining in, very obviously. So if we put that there, you've got lens flare, which gives mood. Perhaps does it take away from the guitar a little bit? Maybe, but I think for this it works really well. And if you want to be a little less obvious, you can place it so it's just on the edge. Something like that, so that you've got the light coming from kind of the corner of the guitar, and when you move it creates different dynamics. Something else that I like to do is to place it on the other side from the one light that you're doing, so that you get one colour this side, one colour this side, and I generally like to do a colour and then more natural warm or very white light, so you don't have too many colours contrasting over the top of each other, otherwise it looks too unnatural, but sometimes that's appropriate. But something that I've learnt recently that is really cool, that I love, is kind of creating a filter with the light. So if I show you what I mean, what I'm doing now is I'm pointing that blue light at the camera but out of shot. So it's a bit like layering over if we change it to green or something like that, or kind of a greeny yellow, again you can see that it has this kind of filter over the top of the picture, versus just standard. If I go from, I'm going to go back to the blue actually, which I think gives probably one of the best filter. It's like a bluey purpley colour. You point it there so you can see the colour that I'm using. That probably doesn't help. Let's point it at my hand. Okay, you know, a bluey purpley colour. But I'm pointing that from the side at the camera. So it's off shot, but giving an effect, which again is something that you could do post-production or post-recording, sorry, but isn't it really cool to be able to do that without having to edit the photo afterwards and potentially, edit the video afterwards and potentially make it not as crisp. Additional layer, pointing a white light up. Get creative, do whatever you want to do. You could get lens flare in here with another light, so you can have so many options with the lighting to make it more interesting than just your standard. That was cool, I enjoyed that. So lighting, and actually the eagle-eyed viewers among you will have noticed that I changed my hat. Ziggy attacked me like so vicious, and he slobbered on my hat, so I had to change. He didn't want like a big slobber streak. On that note, we'll move on to the actual point of the video. So lighting. There's three parts that I've really noticed over the course of this video, but also over the course of the last couple of months while doing these videos in general. Number one, and this is something that I learned not through actually this video, but through watching bands. And it was, I remember watching a cover singer on Facebook. They put this as their like big release video for something that they were wanting to promote themselves. They were singing a ballad with lights flashing everywhere. It doesn't work. It detracts from what you're trying to do. If you're singing a slow ballad, you don't want strobe lights going off like 80s raves or stuff like that. You don't need that. You don't want that. You want lighting that emphasizes what you're trying to achieve. So if you want soft and subtle, you go with nice soft blue light, soft lighting on your face, perhaps fading between some things. And if you want crazy in your face thrash metal, you want strobe lights, you want to go crazy, you want to enhance what you are doing. So that's my number one. Enhance, don't detract. Number two, don't spend thousands of pounds on lighting expecting it to completely change everything for you, because actually angles and colours are more important than the amount you spent on a light. You know, that bulb at the back was probably like 10 quid. This all colours portable chargeable wasn't like pay through the nose. This lamp that's done most of my lighting for the last 5 videos was already there. So use what you already have until you realise that it's not working. So that's number 2. It took me a long while to work out what number 3 was. Number 3 is don't get a 9-year-old as your lighting technician. Keep learning. Go and shut the curtains. Shut the curtains, Alan. Nope. The light is here. On the other side. The lamp. Alan, walk around the other side of me. Turn the lamp on. That's not it. Okay, walk on. No sound, please.
Wait.
Crying out loud. Literally for 3 seconds.
Well, wait 2 seconds.
Alan, get the off of you. Stroke him. Okay, take it out of the room. Crying out, hurry up. Lighting.